Bluey fans were thrilled when they learned that Ludo Studios had a 28-minute special in production. For months, anyone who watched the series speculated what the extra-long episode could be about until recent trailers leading up to the episode gave clues about the healers selling their house and the wedding for Rad and Frisky. Fans were thrilled and curious about what these big life changes could mean for Bluey and her family. Now that the special has been released, we can use today's video to recap everything that happened during the sign. The sign begins like any average morning in the Healer household. Bandit plays with Bluey and Bingo in the backyard, pushing Bingo on the swing while pretending to fall asleep. His antics make the girls laugh, their playtime interrupted only by Bluey asking about the upcoming wedding between their Uncle Rad and Frisky. The wedding will happen in their backyard with Bluey, Bingo, and their cousins taking on the role of flower girls. There's an air of excitement about the wedding, but it's quickly overshadowed when Chili steps outside to tell her family that potential buyers for their home have arrived, and it's time for them to leave. The storyline about the healers selling their house began in the episode Ghost Basket, which leads into the special. Bandit and Chili leave together to take their daughters to school. While standing in their front yard, Bluey and Bingo watch as their realtor arrives with 2 sheepdogs. Coincidentally, the real estate agent in question is Bucky Dunstan, an old classmate of Bandit's that we learn about in the episode Dragon. The couple seems interested in the house but needs more room for a pool. Bingo waves to the realtor, much to Bluey's dismay. Unlike her younger sister, she's troubled about moving to a new city. During the ride to school, Bluey begs her parents not to sell their house and ask what's wrong with their city. Chili wistfully looks out the window and tells her nothing is wrong. The interaction is the first indication that Chili isn't happy about moving. Something Bandit is aware of as he glances toward his wife before reminding everyone in the car that he's found a new job in a different city that will pay him more money to give them a better life. Chili chimes back in, reassuring Bluey that moving will be an adventure. At school, Calypso reads her class a fairy tale, prompting Bluey to ask why stories always have happy endings. Calypso sagely responds that it's because real life will give them enough sad ones, leading the class to talk about sad things that have happened to them. Bluey tells her friends she'll move to a new city, causing them to howl in sadness together. To regain control of the class, Calypso reads another story about a farmer who has faith that everything will work out no matter how good or bad his circumstances are. She tells Bluey everything will be alright, and believing her teacher, Bluey is in a good mood when Bandit picks her up from school. However, Bandit receives a phone call from his realtor, hearing the news that the sheepdogs want to buy their home. Later that night, Bluey tries convincing her parents not to sell their home again, which leads to Chili running from the room before her daughter can see her upset. Sometime later, the Healer family helps Frisky prepare for her upcoming wedding. Aunt Trixie helps teach the younger girls how to behave as flower girls. However, Bluey is absent from the lesson. The other adults clean the yard while Frisky decides where the decorations will go. Stripe inquires about Frisky moving out west to live with Rad after the wedding, much to her surprise. She becomes distressed that Rad would make that decision without her, and assumes she would move away from her home to live with him. Fortunately, Chili steps in, reminding Frisky that there might be a good reason for Rad's behavior, and that she should continue wedding preparations. Meanwhile, the younger girls mess up their flower girl practice, prompting them to search for Bluey. Bluey sits on her front porch, disheartened about her family's upcoming move. When her younger sister and cousins find her, Muffin tells her that taking down the for sale sign in the front yard will prevent their home from being sold. The 4 girls work together to try pulling the sign from the ground with no avail until Frisky arrives to help them. Frisky wants the sign gone for the weekend, believing it will hinder her wedding's appearance, but Bluey believes she's helping take the sign down to save her home. However, Rad returns a phone call from Frisky before they can succeed. She steps away from the children to answer the phone, but ends up fighting with Rad before hanging up, declaring the wedding is off and speeding away in her car. Horrified, Bluey and the others race to tell Chili what had happened. As Frisky's maid of honor and closest friend, Chili takes it upon herself to track Frisky down and bring her home. Unfortunately, she must take all 4 flower girls with her to prevent them from spreading the rumor that Frisky had run away. Uncertain of where to look for Frisky, Chili begins a wild goose chase through the city. She starts by calling Frisky's roommate, but with no luck. She drives aimlessly until she's pulled over for Bluey being in the passenger seat. While riding in the front is life-changing for Bluey and significant enough to invoke envy for the younger children, it still catches the eye of an officer. Fortunately, Bluey was old enough to sit in the front. With the misunderstanding handled, the girls tell the officer they're looking for Frisky. He recognizes the name, describing Frisky before stating that he had just given her a speeding ticket near a juice bar. With their first lead, Chili and the girls race to try and catch up with the runaway bride. However, when they make it to the juice bar, they're distracted by Bluey finding a coin, which leads to Frisky walking out behind them, going unnoticed by the group. The The story's theme and the many highs and lows Chili and the girls begin to experience at this point mimic the story told by Calypso about the farmer. Whether the situation becomes good or bad, things will always work out how they should. Believing they've missed Frisky, the girls ask for juice before getting back on the road. Rad calls Chili asking if Frisky is with her, and they end up in a tense discussion about Rad not talking to Frisky about moving in. Fortunately, Chili's saved from the argument progressing when Muffin spills her cup, prompting Chili to pull over while cleaning up the mess. While watching cars pass by, Socks notices Frisky's car, alarming everyone as they rush to climb into the healer's vehicle for a mild car chase. Chili follows Frisky down the streets and through turns, nearly catching up with her before Socks says she has to use the restroom. With little choice, Chili takes the girls to a rest area. While they wait for Socks, Bluey inquires about Chili's desire to move, but her mother pointedly dodges the question, repeating that she thinks it will be an adventure. Once they're back on the road, Muffin let it slip that they need Frisky to help them move the for sale sign, but their conversation is interrupted when a butterfly enters the car, causing the younger girls to squeal in delight. Chili pulls over, removing the distraction by sending the butterfly away, but watching its flight through the air, she notices a park sign for a nearby lookout. Chili recognizes the location and states she knows where Frisky is, taking the girls to where she and Frisky used to frequent as teenagers. The four find Frisky, who has a heart-to-heart with Bluey and Chili, while the younger girls go to play with the lookout's binoculars. Bluey begs Frisky to convince Chili not to move, and when asked if she's sure she's doing the right thing, Chili exclaims that she doesn't want to leave the house where her children have grown up, but she's doing so because she believes it and Bandit's new job will be good for their family. However, she admits that she doesn't know if the outcome will be good or bad, and that they'll have to see. Her words make Bluey realize the meaning behind Calypso's story and the merit of having faith that everything will be okay. They're then interrupted by the other girls asking for a coin for the binoculars, and when Frisky asks who carries coins anymore, Bluey uses the one she found at the juice bar. As the girls run off, Rad arrives, much to the surprise of Chili and Frisky. Rad claims he knows how much Frisky likes the lookout, and Chili leaves to give them space. With Muffin putting the coin in the wrong slot, it becomes stuck, resulting in the group turning around to notice Rad and Frisky having made up. A montage of the wedding follows, with Chili greeting a pregnant Brandy at the door, Bluey and the others acting as flower girls, Frisky walking down the aisle with her dad, Rad and Frisky saying their vows, and a plethora of photos with the couple and their loved ones. During the after-party, Rad and Frisky announce they won't be moving out west, prompting them to be pulled aside by Bandit and Chili. Bandit wants to know if his brother thinks he's doing the right thing, with Rad stating he'll find a new job and that Bandit worries too much. Bluey goes to find Chili, who states she's done trying to figure out their future and would rather dance the night away. After a night of celebration and fun, Chili and Bandit return the for sale sign to the front yard. Their realtor arrives to tell them the house has been sold. Bandit claims he's just trying to give their children the best life he can, but worries he's making a mistake. But Chili claims they can make that decision together, which leads to the family packing up their home and preparing to move somewhere new. Bingo realizes for the first time that selling the house means they must leave their home and her friends, making her incredibly distraught. Bluey comforts her by retelling the story from Calypso. The episode cuts to the sheepdog family at the lookout. They find the coin left behind by Bluey and use the binoculars, noticing that Winton's dad has put his house up for sale, one with a pool, which they had wanted in their dream home from the start. Meanwhile, the healers say goodbye to their home before loading into their car. An emotional song plays during their goodbyes as Bandit receives a call from his realtor, who tells him that the sheepdogs have backed out from the sale. He goes to the for sale sign, removing the sold sticker, silently considering what would be best for his family. Chili and the girls watch as he begins prying the for sale sign from the yard, deciding they won't move after all. Chili leaps from the car, tackling Bandit to the ground while he holds her. They're joined by Bluey and Bingo soon after before they race back into their home. The episode ends with the family having dinner in a relatively empty room, thrilled to be staying put. The long wait for the sign has paid off, as the emotional and heartfelt episode will leave fans talking for ages to come. Bluey always does well, acknowledging when parents struggle alongside their children, but watching as the healers attempted to sell their home while maintaining a wedding opened up about how stressful making adult choices can be. There were some beautiful scenes between Chili, Bandit, and Frisky and Rad, which will make the episode loved by adults as much as children. It's a testament to how well the series captures family life, including the highs and the lows of growing alongside one another. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.